Let's look at a mid-sized business with about 50 to 500 people that started as a founder-led venture with informal systems, but is now looking to grow, to upscale, and to transition into a big business. The question would be, how would this business transition from a founder-led to a mid-sized business? The answer to that is scaling with structure. What does this entail? It entails establishing the right organizational structure and making sure that there are proper lines of reporting within the business, having strong governance, and carrying out business in a right and appropriate manner. Now let's deep dive into this. Regardless of the structure that has been adopted, effective governance ensures that the business operates effectively and efficiently. The business remains resilient in the face of challenges. The business upholds transparency and sustainability as it scales. I'm going to be talking about effective structures that can be adopted as you grow in your business. The first is a functional or a role-based structure. What does this entail? A role-based structure is one that is widely used by a lot of organizations, especially as they grow in business. It involves setting right functions. So a function can be on finance, can be on payables even under finance. It can be on procurement. You can also have around audit and internal control. These are different functions within an organization. One of the key characteristics of this function is a centralized leadership with a vertical or horizontal layout. It also helps to clearly define roles and job functions. Decision making under this system or under this approach effectively follows, a structured chain of command. So you have the CEO or the MD, you have the head of finance, for example, and then you have the other departments under the head of finance. All the heads of the various operations would have the same level of responsibility, and then you have the subunits under each. What kind of business is this structure best suited for? It suits a mid-sized business with stable products or stable product lines and clear operational functions. It is also helpful for organizations that intend to prioritize efficiency, controls, and specialization. Companies in the manufacturing space, in the health space, in finance as well, even in professional services, typically use this functional approach. One of the benefits of having a functional or role-based structure is that it helps or aids specialization. So employees can develop deep expertise in their functional areas. You can also scale. It is easy to expand departments as the business grows. Accountability is clearer. You understand who owns a particular task and the outcome can be easily measured. There is also expectation properly well defined with this structure because everyone knows his or her responsibilities and who the reporting line is to. How good this is? Yeah, we can say it is good, but there are potential drawbacks with this particular structure. The first one is that you have limited cross-functional collaboration, so departments may operate in silos. We could also have restricted employee growth because the roles can become narrowly defined under that structure where it is, and you may not have people doing cross-functional activities. And then innovation may be slower. So communication across departments may also be inefficient. So those are the drawbacks for functional structure. Now let's look at what the IECD says on governance tips for a functional structure. The first is that every department head must be accountable to a central executive team or board. And the second is that you should have internal control performance metrics for each function. So remember I said you have a function for finance, you can have for procurement, you can have for supply chain, for different areas within the organization, different functions in the organization. However, each of these functions must have reporting lines. That's one. And then two, you should have internal control that, has performance metrics for each of these functions. The second structure that can be adopted is a divisional structure, which is focused on products, on markets, or geography. Like the functional model, the divisional structure is also hierarchical and it could also be centralized. But instead of organizing your functions based on roles, it will now be built on products, on markets, or maybe customer segments. Let us look at the key things that you need to focus on if you are adopting a divisional structure. The first is that each division would operate like a mini business with its own resources. These divisions would also have their own leadership, and they will have a reporting system, which would be to a central reporting team or a central executive team. This structure is well suited for businesses with diverse product lines, with various regional operations, or even distinct customer segments. And it is ideal for companies in the retail space, in the manufacturing space, or companies that are looking to expand across markets. What are the benefits of using this structure? This structure is well focused on products or markets, so you can use it, you can adopt a focused strategy basically with this approach. You can also make faster decisions when it comes to divisional levels. It can improve customer responsiveness because you know who is responsible for which product line, who is responsible for a particular customer segment, and the likes. In terms of the drawbacks, scaling may be a bit difficult due to duplicated roles across divisions, and there is also a risk of inefficiency and poor coordination if communication between the division is weak. So if you're going to adopt this approach, you need to ensure that communication across the various divisions is strong. And then the last point will be on potential incompatibility in systems or strategies across teams. There is that risk inherent in this type of approach. Finally, I'm going to be looking at what the governance tips from the IECD approach covers. One, it says that if you're adopting this approach, divisional boards or committees must be established, right? Which means that there must be a central board that you can report to. Then you must also be able to use standardized governance framework across all divisions to ensure consistency, particularly consistency in reporting. I hope this information has been very helpful. In the next episode, I'm going to be talking about the matrix structure and other type of structures that you can adopt in your business. Don't forget to follow me. Don't forget to like this. And if you have any concern or issues around the structure to implement in your business, I'm just a chat away. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening, and do have a great one.